Good afternoon, everyone. I'll take about exactly 15 minutes. Then we'll get on to our panel discussion, which is more enriching, enlightening, and interesting. Rajiv Chandrasekhar was supposed to be addressing us today, but for some unforeseen developments, he couldn't make it. So we had to make do without him. But of course, we tried getting Rahulji, but our Rahulji, there is only one Rahulji. Our treasurer put his foot down. He said that we are a startup kind of a trust, we hardly have any money. And he's going to bring Rahulji out of pay entertainment tax. So let us do with whatever little we have. So why don't you talk? I said, okay. Rahulji without entertainment tax. Amitabh Satyam spoke very nice about about the apple and the mango, right? It's just why apple and not the mango man kind of a thing. So instead of a political leader, you'll have a Aam Aadmi speaking about what his ringside view of politics is. I'm no political leader, let me make it very clear. I have a close understanding, in my limited understanding, of what it means in terms of having seen in political evolution, political activity flowing through the last few years. Of course, sometimes you always get into delusions, sort of saw Kejriwal. He was an IRS, his wife is an IRS, so he became CM of Delhi. As researchers, you're taught typically, try to see a pattern and see if you can, follow the pattern and these are key success factors. So something struck me, and find even a nice idea. I told my wife, look, I'm from IMB, why don't you get into some IIM? She laughed at me. So I said, no, you should get into it. She somehow refused, but I still didn't give up. I somehow coaxed her. I thought that, if she makes it to an IIM, like both the IRS couple, an IIM couple probably can become the CM of Delhi. then I realized, CM without portfolio doesn't mean anything, so let me not get into these things. So, but anyway, she listened to me and did her EPGP from IIM because that's a separate thing. What I'll talk in the next few minutes is primarily what I have gone through in my political journey. When I say political journey, it's like working closer with the political domain. That's what it means, right? In the last 3 years, most of us, people across the country spend a lot of time, efforts, resources in working with the government directly, indirectly. Even in the previous era, when Nandan Nilekani industry actually put in a lot of efforts in terms of July. But beyond that, what I saw is what probably, and what I went through is what probably I'll take you through. This is basically sort of, a ringside view. So I can talk of a political activity. Oh, that's okay. Another 15 minutes. Our big moment came in 2013, 2014 election campaign. So when we started understanding that it's a do or die situation for the country, you get a good leader. And
I think you have a cell phone in your pocket. Cell phone in your pocket must get it on. Need it to move at all. Because it's a loose contact with the
something called a Shakuna. Shakuna says that you do or you don't do certain things. Right? This is a Shakuna of saying don't take too much of time.
It's saying don't use the mind. You are audible without that.
Without that. What kind of hypothesis has worked? So a lot of professionals came. A lot of professionals came under the leadership of Anand Kumarji in Bangalore South, trying to I wouldn't say contribute, but it's a great learning, I would say. I personally would say that what I didn't learn in my Berkeley days or IIM days, this is something that I could probably get an understanding of. So trying to understand how do you sort of convey a message to a particular constituency, how do you sort of hit a ball for a four, right? So this was something that was very interesting for me because I always had a political inclination in terms of saying that I want to understand politics. Of course, I come from both places of economics and politics and economics. And I did only economics there, so politics was missing. And I did a bit of politics in IIM as my thesis, third essay of my thesis. the idea was to sort of try to understand if there's a linkage between politics, business, and the society. That was my third essay. Politics and business by and large, a bit of society thrown in. And that was the continuation with which we came on, right? And in corporate strategy, my area of interest, we typically talk of good governance. You know, what is good governance, corporate governance, what is it that a company needs to be doing to be quite a well-organized company versus a, you know, something which is which gets a golden peacock award, right? Satya. So, wanted to try to understand what is good governance. So, my quest for understanding good governance, maybe at the corporate level, maybe at the city level, maybe at the country level, probably what we closer to what after 2014 election, it was a very nice ground level understanding. I took a position with the MIT School of Government, Pune, to work very closely with Sri P.N. Session, the founder, who was indisposed, was probably meeting pretty often in Chennai, get to understand things from him as to what the country would require in terms of making it more good governance oriented. So, right? So it was once again an academic institution, but with a lot of favor with respect to the political domain. So it is like being in a B school where you're not in the thick of action like a corporate guy, but yeah, you're in the corporate world adjacent to it. Likewise, there was an institution where that was in the political domain, so to speak, but once again in the academic periphery rather than being in the thick of action. The best part there was that you got to meet a lot of good people, including people from the Congress. I mean, I didn't expect, but yes, some of the people from Congress and so got to meet them. But I still realize they are the exception rather than the rule in those parties, unlike the parties in which I was closely working with. That was a nice learning in the sense that you have people trying to make a difference in those parties, but who fail miserably for whatever reasons. I mean, that's once again a matter of academic pursuit. Whenever time permits, I should definitely be able to write a couple of case studies in my publications, as Amitabh rightly said, you know, and publish it to Harvard Business School and come back and say, hey, I want a Harvard publication. But the bigger learning for me, while both in Pune and later on at Bangalore, was I don't have a rural background in the sense that my rural interaction was very, very minimal at the family level. Tried to do some activities in Pune, which when I would compare that always with the Bangalore team that was doing in Bangalore, I would realize that there's like chalk and cheese. You hardly do anything in one place. No point taking somebody's name, whatever it was. But when compared to the kind of activities that you were doing in Bangalore, I mean, to get reports, to get emails, to get SMSs, saying these are things that are happening in Bangalore, right? So that was something that always said that why is it that certain people can do versus certain people don't do or can't do. So once again, it's a matter of leadership, right? The way you drive it. So finally, the template is given by the government of India, the government mandates it, and still some people do it really well, some people don't do it at all. It once again shows that there is a leadership component to it, the way things are done, or rather not done. There was one more learning that I took away. And some of the learning, I mean, when we typically talk of a management consulting kind of a solution that we look at, is that yeah, this is a typical BCG solution, there's a vacancy solution. And when you look at what a government solution could be to a problem, which is a very, very humongous and politically surcharged kind of a challenge, you started appreciating the people who take those decisions. One thing I always find, I always have very high respect for this kind of a decision is the imported urea. I still remember one of those discussions there where sir was having started to say, what would you do in this situation? I mean, this was the challenge given. There was a huge amount of close to 20-25% of urea being taken away, diverted from the agricultural sector to the corporate sector. And agriculture being a very, very sensitive domain, you can't raise the prices. And you need to make sure that the urea is available to all. How do you do it? So I put the same question to the expert there in Delhi, and I got some funny, ridiculous academic answer. So what would you do? I mean, to be very frank, I didn't have an answer. And he said that this is how we did it. So I and Modi ji had a discussion karke. The way Anand Kumar ji explained it, so it was something very interesting. Finally, at the end of the day, who is the corporate leader, someone who solves the problem. So say also is the case with a social leader or a political leader. Picks up a problem, probably identify the issues with it and solves it, right? So in the case of urea, the hard constraint is you can't raise the prices. At the same time, you need to make sure that it's available to all. And there is no magic wand by which you can suddenly increase the availability of urea. So how do you do it? So we gave us a very excellent solution
wherein he made the entire urea neem coated. And he did a record 188 days, just about 6 months plus days, such that the entire urea, what percentage of it would be pilfered by the corporate was stopped, because to remove the effect of neem on the urea, it would probably cost you more than what otherwise you get in the market, higher price also. So whatever was being siphoned away, that came back to the farm sector. Because of the neem being put there, you automatically have a higher amount of productivity for the fertilizer as well. So it was like two wins, wherein it made a lot of sense for farmers. So the first time after a very long time, you had a situation where there was no riots for fertilizer, people not being saying that there is no fertilizer availability. So if you look at this is what probably a leader in terms of solving a problem. This is what my takeaway was. So I want to come back to Bangalore in terms of action. We always like, an academic word is an excellent word. Having said that, if you have a passion for some on-the-ground activity, it makes more sense to see if the action is happening. So after a point in time, virtual activity may not be too much of a satisfying thing. So that made me probably relocate to Bangalore. Of course, my wife motivated me at the same point, and so it was like a relocation for me, making more sense from the family perspective as well. One thing that what I probably learned was that in terms of politics is all about managing aspirations. So long as you are able to manage the aspirations of people, you probably get their buy-in, you can take them along. And if you look at what Modi is doing in terms of achieving, so people did want at him to see that he was able to take people along so much so that today people are an actual pain in terms of inconvenience. They still support him. They still say that, yeah, we believe in what he's been doing. Right? So that once again is a component of leadership. That leadership derives its authority from being on the moral high ground rather than anything else. In the last few months, 6 to 8 months time, I had a deeper understanding of how things happen. It's very nice to be on the periphery and contribute once in a while and have some good photo also and go back. So I want to start being in his office, try to understand the challenges that they face. Time management is typically what we hear, in the corporate world. It's extremely tough to manage your time. But that much I have understood that time pressure on a public personality of this nature is probably 10x more. So how do I handle it? I mean, you need to really handle it without losing the grip of what the deliverables and the outcomes are. And that was one good learning for me. That's the thing that you need to really run your time well, manage your time well. And you get to see a lot of professionally run managed offices as well. You can definitely do it. It's not like it's very unstructured or something. It's just like based on whims and fancies. You can run it in a very professional way as well. So you probably let me sort of write a funny blog on one of my off days. Then finally said that I find no difference between a corporate world and a entrepreneurial world and a CJP office, the minister's office, CJP office. Because like it was the same thing, work on tight schedules, make sure that you have the end customer in mind, the deliverables, and a very structured way of doing things. So anyway, there was no culture shock in terms of saying you quit a corporate job and come to a political office kind of thing. And one thing that I realized once again, as Dr. Tejasvi was speaking this morning, a lot of components go hand in hand between the social and political aspects. And everything is nested. There's a concept of nestedness in business research, and that nestedness means that you can't take a business out of its social context, right? You can't run a business in vacuum. It will be nested in some context, and that context could be the Indian context here, it could be in some other context. So even the politics of the business that we do is typically nested in the social context. So without understanding the social reality, trying to political connect actually backfires. I mean, you can't say that I don't know Canada, having lived in Bangalore for 30-40 years and I still run for a MP's office, right? It becomes a bit weird. People can see the disconnect. That as a small example, but nevertheless, that's a very important thing for us to know that unless and until that social connect is there, the activities that actually touch the people, the political dimension may not really take one. And completing the loop is what probably I want to bring in terms of my understanding. Saying the triple strength leadership, be it the business, be it society and the political domain, all three going hand in hand. when our MP had sent across to Sabarmati to do some ground level study. But we understood how the Sabarmati river rejuvenation was more or less like a not a social project alone, but a social project with a very strong economic rationale, so that it became very much sustainable and there was absolutely no opposition to it. And now currently being on the roles of the government of India as an additional private secretary to the minister, the learning that I get to sort of see is the challenges that they face. I mean, I have very limited task in terms of long-term oriented task, and there itself I can see the challenges that what would easily be 5x more than what I have done in any of my political and my other careers. So when I talk of a very small limited growth, expecting a political leader of the stature or probably the PM to actually turn around the country is something a very humongous task. It's a very humbling experience for me to sort of acknowledge that they are indeed what they are doing is a highly commendable thing. So here, what we can do as individuals, as Amitabh rightly pointed out, it's we who can probably make the difference, right? Each one of us in our own small way, the way we connect with the larger political system, and therefore not be disconnected. When we speak of, they are a good corporate leader, but I may not be a good, I don't have to connect with the political line or the social line. It doesn't make sense, because once again we come back to the concept of nestedness. So our business is also nested in the social world, the political world, right? It can't so happen that a company comes and say that we'll sell slippers with Goddess Lakshmi on it, right? You just can't say, oh, we don't mean any disrespect to anyone, it's just one more business. You can't say that. So that's a social sensitivity that probably comes along. Or probably trying to say that we keep the beef separate from the normal food, though it is not the practice of the KFCs and other food joints elsewhere outside of the country. So they have to be sensitive and sensible towards their business by being aware of the social factors. So my experience so far, in terms of saying political learning can go hand in hand with the economic and the business learning that we had. And today's world, we get to see a lot of social acceptance and otherwise, all the three converging together. And it's good to sort of see our business leaders speak very openly about the political issues and vice versa. And this convergence, more and more it grows, is something that's going to be very beneficial for the country, what probably I believe in. And coming back to what we want to do, not trying to be a Vishwaguru, and is there something that we can go back to our roots and see? Yes, there is indeed, right? Be it the Raj Dharma that the Bhishma talks of, or the Vidura talks of, or it could be the Chanakya Niti. There is enough and more for us sort of pick up and from their model how we can probably govern our country, govern our corporates, and probably make our society a very better society. So obviously is the bigger objective. So as a part of the PRACHII platform, the intent is very much to pick up the learnings from each of the domains, try to see if there is a very synergistic linkage between the three, and use that, leverage that for the betterment of our, as an individual at the same time as part of the larger community. So this has been my brief learning. This is what probably I want to put it in front of the audience here. Going forward, about what PRACHII will do and how you can sort of come and work with us together is what Srinivasji will be speaking at the end of the conference. So you get to hear more about the two-way engagement that we can have together and how to take it beyond this. So on this note, thank you once again, and I request Ananta to come and take the next panel session ahead. But before that, there's been quite a request to know about the email ID of Amitabh Satyamji. Any guesses what it could be? Anta is giving a hint. I think he's an untruthful fellow. Huh? Satyam. A Satyam. Unfortunately, he did not put the dot because he thought that it's a US culture, so he refused to do that. So on this note, thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Samir, for sharing your thoughts and experiences on the political leadership.